And today we are going to be talking about the subject. Do you own your Daz Studio renders? Today I am going to play the part of the Daz Studio ghost of the past, present, and future. And we are going to learn something about who owns your renders. Okay. Okay, now, Angus, welcome. Today we have a new topic on a snowy day. Oh my gosh, we have sunshine here, and it is, what is the temperature? I wish, well, I'm just not going to, it's 44 degrees according to my other computer. 44. So we have some pretty nice weather. I should probably be out walking around and getting some exercise. But instead, I have decided to come in here and let you all know what's going on here. We have to turn on. Okay, so if you should happen to get an ad or something, well, I turned them on. Yes, I know, I'm horrible. So today we're going to talk about do we own our Daz Studio renders, okay? And so I'm just going to show you all kind of what is a render, just in case you're not sure, okay? So we're going to go to all files. And if I turn this thing on here and chair, 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 chair. Okay, so what we have here is a chair. Okay, and it would happen to come in the wrong way, so it just, well, we can kind of see what this is. This is a chair. Okay, now if I take this chair and we bring it in kind of nice so it looks nice, okay, we got to kind of take an angle, make our own little angles so that it's not just a chair, but it's a chair from a certain angle. So I've already changed this chair by moving the camera around it, changing the angle, and then we go to iRay, okay? My graphics card, my $2,000 graphics card is applying the light and textures, computing all of this. So what this chair kind of looks like is a result of my graphics card that I paid $2,000 plus a $5,000 computer, okay, that I have with many aspects all running: RAM, power supply, chip, the chip, and the motherboard, the chassis, the case, all kinds of other things, the M.2, so that this can be loaded from all of this stuff around this chair. Now, this chair I bought from Daz Studio. Okay, and so now if I go into the render settings and I decide how much let's go for 1024. Okay, so if I decide the render settings, and let's put a background here. Let's just put a black background. So we go to environment. So we change the backdrop to something maybe black. Just might show up a little bit better. Okay. And then we go into the render settings and we decide how many samples. You can see I've already put a lot of myself into what this chair represents. Okay. And now I render it. Okay. And what we have is a rendered chair. Okay. Now the question is, do I own this image? Okay, is this image, I bought the chair from Daz Studio, okay? Daz Studio itself, I actually pay them for use of Premiere. I subscribe so I can pay them for the use of Premiere, Daz Studio Premiere. So I bought the chair and I pay them for the use of Daz Studio. So really nothing is free here, okay? So, and what I've done is I've rendered this chair, okay, in Daz Studio using my graphics card, my computer, my RAM, my hard drive, my all of these things are things that I've purchased. So everything around this chair I bought, okay? Do I own this picture? Okay? And the correct answer is no. Okay? I own certain rights to this picture, but I do not own all of the rights to this picture. Okay? That is the distinction, okay? Is that we own, like I can take this picture and I can put this picture, welcome, welcome, welcome. I can put this picture on social media. I can put it on YouTube. As I'm doing it right now. I'm using this chair on YouTube as an example. All right, just one moment. I can put this chair, I could put this image in a movie. Okay, if somebody's watching TV, I could have it flash on their TV in the movie, and I'd be all set. I would have rights to that. I have clear rights to that kind of use. I could put this chair in a book. I could put it in a catalog selling items. Now, would I be able to, like, 3D print this chair? No. I believe that in order to 3D print this chair, I would need to purchase the right to 3D print it. And so which my computer has all of those coordinates to 3D print this chair because it's in Daz Studio and all. But would I have the rights to do that? No. And so then there is also the question of what if I wanted to put this chair, this not the rendered image, but the 3D object, put it in a game, okay, and sell the game and have all kinds of people come in and with their characters and sit in this chair? No, I have to buy a license for that. Okay, so, but what we're focusing on right now is, do you own the rights to the render? Okay, and the answer is no. Okay, you own the rights to use this image, but because there are limitations, okay, you can't say I own this. Okay, and now when I first started using Daz Studio, I was using Bryce, I was using TrueSpace, I was using Poser at the time, and I really didn't know about Hexagon and Carrera that much. But I had learned about, I knew of them, but I just hadn't really gone in and used them. I really didn't even know what they were for. But I did use a lot of other 3D programs that I've used over Pavre. I could just go on and name a bunch that I have used. There was one called Draw that I started out with years ago. That was like way back when Photoshop was just starting, and there was just like L-View and things like that. Okay, I don't want to get too waylaid in details, but when I first started using Bryce Studio, all of a sudden, one day, and Bryce had jumped from owner to owner. I believe Meta Creations owned it, and I think Corel at one point owned it. I'm not sure. And that was another program that I used to use, was Corel Draw. And so it jumped hands, and then Daz 3D bought Bryce. And one day, all of a sudden, Daz said, hey, we have this new program that's free, and it's called Daz Studio, and you can download it for free, and you can link it to your Bryce, and you can bring items from Bryce into Daz and from Daz into Bryce. And I thought, well, that's a great idea. Well, back then, when you would render an image, you owned it. You owned every bit of that image. There was no doubt that if you rendered something in Daz, it didn't matter what it was from, you owned it as long as you bought or acquired the 3D models in Daz Studio legally, like you bought them or you were given them from Daz. Some models came with Daz Studio, and they were free. They were content that came with Daz Studio, and that was free. So as long as you used either the free content or you bought models or loaded OBJ files, brought things over from Poser into Daz that you owned, if you rendered something, you owned that image, okay? Well, along came 3D printing, and suddenly the people at Daz Studio saw a way they could possibly make some money from their products. And they said, well, you know, it's okay to render something and you own the image, but if you're going to take this image that is in 3D like this wireframe, let's go to wireframe. If you're going to take this image that we've created, okay, and you're going to send this to a 3D printer, and you're going to print this out as a 3D model, like the models that you used to get buy, and you could paint them, and they were like car models and all. If you want to print this out as a 3D model, you have to buy a special license from us to do that. And so, and you know what? The technology changes, okay? Welcome, people. Welcome. The subject of this is, do you own your Daz 3D, Daz Studio renders, okay? And so far, the answer is no, okay? You do not own your 3D renders to do anything you please with them. There are limitations, and that's what we're going to talk about today. What are the limitations? And these limitations are new. They have not been around. That's why I say I am the ghost of Daz 3D past, present, and future, because I was around when Bryce came out and when all of a sudden Daz 3D announced, hey, we have a new program. It's free. And it is Daz Studio, and you can download it, and it will interconnect with Bryce, and all of this was really exciting, okay? Daz Studio was much more advanced than I realized at that time, okay? It was an amazing program. It took me years, many years, to realize the power of Daz Studio. So, all right, so let's fast forward today. So all of a sudden, Daz Studio decided that if you're going to take any of the models, and as you know, I own probably close to 1 million models from Daz Studio that I have purchased, that I bought with my own money, okay? This video is not a complaint about Daz Studio, okay? It's to open your eyes and say, what do you own? What are your rights, okay? Currently, what are your rights? What can you do with your products that you have bought from Daz Studio? You need to know the answer, okay? You need to know what's happening so you can make an informed decision. Do I want to invest more into Daz Studio models? Do I feel comfortable with the rights that I am granted in their EULA, okay? And now I'm going to open this up and we're going to go here to the Daz Studio, all right? This is the end user's license, okay? And when you put your mouse over this little end, now if you go to YouTube, go to Google, and you type in Ez3D EULA, E-U-L-A, okay? And search, probably the first link that will come up will take you to this page. And this is the license that you are granted when you have bought products from Daz Studio. You agree to this license so that you have an agreement between you and Daz 3D over these products that you own, okay? Now, years ago, I was under a different license, okay? The license that was before 3D printing, okay? I was under a different license. The license that I was under was basically anything you rendered, you just owned your image, period. That was it. You just owned, you could do anything. And it's very much like this one right here. So it says terms of use, okay? Two-dimensional work, subject to the terms and conditions of the user may access, use, copy, modify the content in the creation, the presentation of two-dimensional animations and rendering. So you can take them into Photoshop and you can put filters on them. You can change the way you can put brushes on them. You can do all kinds of stuff, and you're able to do that. Incorporate two-dimensional images, including two-dimensional image that simulate motion of 3D objects derived by the user from the content of the user's other works. Publish, market, distribute, transfer, sell, or sub-license. Use two-dimensional animations, renderings, and other works provided that the user may or may not in any case publish. So you can publish, market, distribute, transfer, sell, or sub-license any renderings, animations, software. Now the software applications, I don't believe you can do that. Data and other products from which any content or any part thereof or any substantially similar version of the content can be separated, exported, extracted, decompiled into any redistributable form. So you can publish, market. So you can't market the objects that you've bought. You can't take the product, the zip files and all of that from animation software, HDRIs. You can't just sell a bunch of HDRIs. You have to render that HDRI, and in that case, once you've rendered it, you can use an HDRI. Even if it's just an HDRI, you can use it in the background of something as long as you're, and you can sell it like in a book or something like that, as long as you're not selling a compilation of Daz Studio HDRIs so that people can just load them in, into Daz, because that HDRI that's in the book, it's probably not even the original size. Most HDRIs are at least 8K or 4K. So basically anything you render, okay, you have the right to put it in a book, put it on social media. You can sell it. You can put it on a book cover. You can sell it to somebody and create a book cover for their novel. You can do anything like that. You can do, it's a two-dimensional image that is, but this is where it stops. There's a place where your rights with a 2D image, and this is all new, okay? It's like, and so if you go to this, you see, and so I'm going to accept the terms of this license agreement, because if I have a problem with it, okay, I will, if I feel like my rights are being trampled on, so will you. So will all of us. All of us will get together and we will complain in one big loud voice so that Daz has to change and say, oh, well, maybe we don't own this right, okay? So I'm going to accept this, all right? But if I don't accept this, okay, if I don't click accept, and then I go back and I start perusing through the website, and I start using the website, and I say, oh, I like that, and I buy something, and I purchase something. By using the website after reading this agreement, I have automatically accepted it. That's according to this agreement, that if you continue to use, if user does not agree to the terms of this agreement, users must not accept the accept button below. User acknowledges and agrees that Daz may update, amend, or modify this agreement from time to time, okay? And then it goes on to say, agreement in connection with any uses of Daz website or services after the initial acceptance of this. So if the user does not intend to be bound by any updates or modifications, the user should, in this case, cease and desist from any further use of Daz's website or services. So that means don't go back to Daz 3D, period. Doesn't matter what you've bought. If you do go back, okay, to Daz 3D, then you're automatically accepting the agreement. Okay, so basically they're very adamant that you either just cease and desist, like go away and never come back, okay, or accept this now. Okay, this is their, which is kind of pretty aggressive. Okay, I would say that, like, there's just no way out of accepting this, not accepting this, because if you go back to the Daz Studio and you start say, well, I wonder what's new today, okay, you have accepted the agreement, even if you don't click it, okay, because they know that you have been here and seen this, okay? They know where you've been. They know your account. They know your IP address. They know all of this stuff. They know you have been here and that you have seen this. And from that time on, if you come back to their website, you are approving, you are agreeing by coming back, because it says either cease and desist any further use of Daz's website or services, and or terminate the user's acceptance. And so if you come back, you're agreeing. Okay, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to click submit, because like I said, so it says I will be redirected to the shop. Okay, so I don't want to be redirected. Okay, all right. So but I have now accepted this agreement. Okay, I do it begrudgingly. Okay, because it's a very fine line, because what this literally says is that years ago, I used to own my renders. Now I don't. okay? That's what this, in essence, says. It says, I can use my render to put on a book, to put, so for 99, probably 9, maybe let's say 80% of you all, at least now, okay? Nothing's going to change. You can use your renders on YouTube. You can post them on your Facebook feed. You can put them in galleries on these other galleries. This what is this, Dystopia or something? I don't know. All these galleries, you can post them anywhere. That you can put in any gallery anywhere, okay? You can put them on YouTube. You can put them in YouTube videos. You can make animations and put them in YouTube videos. Nothing like that, that most of what you do is going to change, okay? So you have all of those rights. What is the right that Daz is so worried about? What has changed? Why are they taking away the rights to our renders? What rights have they decided that they will not let us have with our 2D renders? Because before it was like wide open, okay? And I don't know how long this has been here because I just went in to check, okay? But now I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you something, all right, about what's changed. Why has Daz all of a sudden said, no, 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 no. You're not going, this isn't going to happen. And they've just put their foot down and said, you know, suddenly we have to tell people what used to be like open, like you own your 3D renders, do whatever the heck you want with them, and for them to say, no, you don't. What has changed? What has happened? Okay? And I'm going to show you something here. Now, when we go to Night Cafe, all right, here, this is a website. Now, this website is mentioned in the EULA agreement, okay? It says Night Cafe, and it says a whole bunch of other AI websites. This is what's happened, okay? Now, when you go into this model thing, okay? What is a 3D model, okay? Well, a 3D model, in essence, and I don't know a lot about this, okay? But a 3D model is like it's like getting a brand new newborn baby AI model delivered to your house, okay? And so this is a part of Night Cafe where it says train a model, okay? And so it's basically a baby, it's your newborn baby model, okay? That you can train to, and so how do you train a model? Well, you start uploading images, and I guess there's a 500 megabyte limit, okay, on the image. But in 500 megabyte image, you can upload a 4K image of somebody's face, like Michael's face or Victoria's face, okay? You could upload a render of this chair, okay? And so the 3D baby will look at that and say, "Oh, that's a chair. I can make that." And so every time you ask the chair, "Well, I'd like to have a figure, a person sitting in a chair," well, it's going to use this chair, okay? And so what's happened? So all of our renders, basically, you could take all of your renders, which would be really fun to do. It would be, but Daz 3D is saying, well, yeah, it'd be fun to take all of our stuff and give it to an AI to learn and make, then you wouldn't need Daz Studio anymore. You could just go to the AI and say, well, I need Victoria sitting in a red gown, and all of the clothing. You just render all these pictures of all the clothing and all this stuff, and your AI model learns it and learns it and learns it and learns it, and then it doesn't need to use you don't need to use Daz anymore. And you can also say, well, I'd like Victoria kissing Michael, and Michael's dressed in a tuxedo, and Victoria's in a big red gown and everything, and they're in this ballroom, and the ballroom would be a Daz 3D room that the AI that you rendered and trained the AI, and the AI would learn the room, and you wouldn't need Daz at all. And so this presents a problem for Daz, okay? Now, right now, currently, AI can only really spit out, HD images, which are about like maybe 2,000 pixels is kind of pushing it for an AI image. All right, so you can get it maybe 4,000. You can go up to 4,000 pixels. But Daz Studio can render things at like, I would say probably you're pushing it at 24,000. So we're talking about maybe AI going to 4,000. Daz can render things even bigger than 24,000. Okay, so Daz is able to render extremely detailed scenes, okay? So in a way, AI hasn't really caught up to Daz with it, and then there's all kinds of issues. But what AI can do with a dress, once AI's looked at a dress, and it can then flow that dress, and it can merge that dress, and half of the dress is like the dress, and the other half is like water or snow or fur or something, and it can merge those kinds of things right into that dress. It can do like anything with it. And so Daz, they're worried that, and you know someone's going to do it. That, and I was planning on doing it myself, but my application of training a model was a little less invasive. All I wanted to do was kind of take my images. I have about maybe 400 images over the last 6 years, and they're very high quality. A lot of them are all like 13K renders. And I wanted to take my images and render and upload them to Night Cafe. Here, train a model and upload them so that I could just go, and then after I've uploaded all 400 images, then I could go here into the text prompt and use my model and say, make a picture of two people swimming in the swimming pool with the bright sunshine coming in through a sky roof or sky lamp, a skylight, so kind of thing. And it would take all of those things that it had looked at and trained and make an image, okay, from them. And if I say, I don't like that one, do another one. And then it could use just a completely different Daz swimming pool that I've trained it. And, well, what about that one? And what about this? And what about that? And what about this building? You want them to in that building or this building? And every time it might even use a different Daz figure. It doesn't matter if the figure that you're using, there are some exceptions, because if and how far did those exceptions go? Like, what if you created the dress? What if you created it like in in Marvelous Designer? And what if you created the figure in Blender and you brought the figure into Daz, and all your training is a figure that you've created, an address that you've created? You might be able to get away with that, okay? Because you could do that in any renderer, okay? You could render any kind of 3D object. In fact, there are probably some just basic software renderers that you could render, engines and all, that you could maybe even work with Windows and all. So that now you could train AI, but all you'd have to train the AI would be like a figure you made and a dress or something. So you're not going to have, you know, mountains and scenes like that. You know, we got all these Daz mountains and all of these. We have what's it called? We have ultra scenery. You could train Daz. You could train this model to create ultra scenery scenes, and it looks and sees the flowers and plants and learns them all, and then it can just it thinks in ultra scenery. Okay, so you can't do this. This, according to your Daz license that I just clicked on. Why would I click on it? Okay, because I can plan on continuing to use, but it does make me leery about investing a lot more into Daz Studio right now. Okay, it makes me stop and say, hey, I'm not sure that I like this. I'm not sure that I like this. Because, you know, these renders, I bought all of these objects, okay? I bought them. And, you know, and I should be able to train a model with them, with any of them that I want to use. I can't, okay? I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to take this newborn baby model here and open its eyes up to the 3D products that I have purchased, okay? I'm not allowed to do that. And on one hand, okay, I feel for myself, and I feel kind of angry that Daz has kind of stepped their foot down and stopped the flow of art and culture and progression of art. And on the other hand, I look at them saying they're scared to death that their business model is ruined, okay? And that's why I clicked on accept, okay, for the agreement, okay? Because I understand their point of view. And until they can find a way to say, well, okay, you can, you know, maybe they could say, well, you can use 3 renders or 4 renders, you know, or 100 renders to train a model, and then you have to pay for further, you know, images and all. So you cram as much stuff into one image as you can or something. There's no model yet for doing that. There's no plan or strategy that's been created to help us to help Daz to protect their business model and still allow us to train AI. Okay? And this is something I wanted to do. I mean, I had it all. I was already making a folder of all kinds of stuff I wanted to send up and train a model. Now, you could train a model. You can train a model. You can do it. You just can't use any of the art that model spits out, and you can't sell the model. That's the idea, is that basically I could train a model and I could put so many awesome images in there that model could become really, really smart. And because I own 13,000 Daz products, I could train a model pretty well. I could make that model like know what everything is, okay? But I'm not allowed to. All right, I'm not allowed to use this. So I can do it anyway. All right, I can just take all my objects and start rendering them out one by one and train the model and everything. But anything that model creates, I can never, ever, ever let anyone ever see it. Okay, maybe someone in your family, maybe you're just your immediate family. I'm never allowed to show it. I'm not allowed to put it online. Definitely not allowed to put it online anywhere, okay? Because that would be a public, it's like taking and buying a movie and broadcasting it on YouTube, okay? You can't, okay? You can show your family, you can show your friends, you can invite them over, okay, to see it. But you can't, so there is a fair use. Fair use is something that was created by the U.S. Congress, where these big companies said, well, no, we don't. If you want to show your wife the movie you just bought, she's got to buy her own, you know? And they would have come in and just said, no, you can't even show your kids. If you buy a Disney DVD, only you can watch it. So, you know, and so the people took these big film companies to court and said, you know, there should be some kind of fair use. Like if I want to invite my neighbors over to watch a DVD I just bought, I should be able to do it. And the U.S. Congress agreed. Okay, so you know, it says that you can't train a model, you know, or something to that, and it literally names all of these, like Night Cafe and all of these places that allow you to train models. You can't install AI on your computer. Like you can set up AI and you can put Python on your computer and you can create all this stuff. And then you can start you could start feeding that model. It's a newborn baby on your computer, images that you want it in its repertoire of images. You can do it. You just can't use them ever for anything, okay? Until this all gets settled and solved and something happens. So, and how are they going to do it? Because you could theoretically train a model like you say, well, okay, Daz allows you to use say 400 images, 400 renders, okay? Well, that render could be like a close-up of somebody's skin, and that skin was created by an artist, okay? Maybe some other PA or something, or by Daz Originals, okay? And you've taken a very close-up of that skin, so anytime that the AI needs a close-up of skin, they're going to use that. They're going to use that and then redesign it in a way, but it's still going to be based on those pores and the little teeny fine lines and all of that stuff. So it's like and so if you take a very big close-up of a shader or you know, or anything, the model, or you take the shader and you say, oh, well, this is the ambient occlusion, and this is the diffusion, and this is the, you know, the base, and this is the, you know, the transparency image, and you give it all those images to that shader. The AI is smart enough to say, oh, they all go together, and then it'll start using those shaders algorithmically. Okay, and that's the same thing with say an image you render. So you would train the model and you'd upload a very low quality of the whole image, right? But then you would zoom in and you would render, say, the coach that they're sitting in, or their feet and their hands and their face. You'd render them in different images, and then there's a dog sitting beside them or something, and you take and zoom in on that dog in your viewport, and you render that dog real quick, and the AI is going to look at all those pictures and say, oh, they all go with this image. This image is the roadmap to all those little zoomed in images. The AI is smart, and it will say, and it's a name for that, like deductive something. It's built into AI. And so the AI will take and have not only the whole image in its mind, but it'll have those close-up, high-resolution details to see. I put some thought into this to learn from, okay? And so this is all new stuff, okay? So the thing is yes, you can train a model, but by fair use, according to Copilot and a few other Copilot said, yeah, you could theoretically train a model as long as you don't plan on using those images for anything, okay? You can't use them for anything, okay? Because you can't take that image and then upload like something that you created with your AI model and then upload that to another AI and say, well, make something based on that. You can't do that. No derivative work is legal, okay? You can do it for your own fair use. And then the thing is that if you train a model here, does Night Cafe have access to that model? Could they basically say, hey, well, we'd like to try out your model, and we're not even going to ask you to do it. We're just going to, because your model is being trained by we own your model. There again, it's just somebody's going to come in and say they own your model and all your images because it's on their website and blah, 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 okay? So you have to make sure that nobody has access to this model, and you can't sell the model. You can't because you can duplicate the model. Once it's trained, you could duplicate it, and you could then sell it to somebody else, and they would have your entire model, and they could go in and type something and say, make me a picture of this, and it will all be based on the intelligence of your model, okay, that you have trained. So all of this comes down to it's a roadblock. It's basically a very sad and kind of depressing end to the whole Daz experience, okay? That, I bought the models that I have. I bought these models. When I put them in here, I decided the camera angle, okay? I decided the lighting. I decided the background. And when I put in a model like one of my models, okay? So let's take this figure out, this scene, okay? How much is there a way around it to some degree? Okay, is there a way around it? And I'm going to I'm going to talk about things where the line is kind of blurred, okay? So this, if I put this, go to figures, and okay, I put a Genesis 9 figure in here. So just because Genesis 9 was given to you free doesn't give you the right to train AI with it, okay? So, but are there exceptions, okay? When all of the geometry of the Genesis 9 figure suddenly, now you're definitely not going to be able to use the skin textures, but then there are some merchant resource skin textures. What about them? Okay, and then, so in order to use a merchant resource skin texture, so okay, I take this and I take this figure and I go and say, okay, I'm going to put this character, which is like a combination of a bunch of other figures all kind of put together, into something, into a completely different shape. And there may be some cases where this is legal and some cases where it's not. Like these particular, this particular figure here is based, when we go into parameters, it's based on Noah, Ivar, Thomas, Ethan, Dalton. So Ethan's head, okay, Nathan's, and I believe all of these, yes, I believe all of these figures here, these are all Genesis 9 figures. So probably this particular case is not legal, okay? I wouldn't be able to take this figure because it's very clearly based upon these figures. But if I were to go and turn all of these off, okay, we go back here and we go to, we take the Genesis 9 figure out. We put Genesis 9 figure back in, okay? And so you could start training AI on something, you know, so that you have a figure that's your own, okay? And so the question is, and this is something that I remember hearing about it in a video, and I believe, and it was a Daz Studio. It wasn't one of Jay's tutorials. It was a tutorial from Daz Studio themselves, extolling the virtues of the new Premiere. So you put this Genesis 9 figure in, and then you put in a, well, okay, let's take this Genesis, we'll take that out for now, and we'll put in a Genesis 8 figure. All right, we'll go and put in Genesis 8. We'll go with the Genesis 8.1 basic male, okay? So we put a Genesis 8 male. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, Nerdy Gen Ez3D. Welcome, friend. Very nice. Please leave likes and subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell for notifications. Today we are talking about, do you own your Daz 3D renders? You want to watch this video from the beginning so you know your rights, okay? And I am also going to make a disclaimer from this video. If you don't own your 3D renders, I'll take them. No. So I'm just kidding. So let's put some pants on this guy. All right, base shorts. Okay, we're going to go MMX and put some pants on it. So I'm going to make a disclaimer that some of the things I might say in the course of this video may not be true, okay? You have to find out. You have to, I'm definitely not intentionally misleading or distorting the facts, okay? I'm stating the facts to the best of my knowledge, okay? But the bottom line is, you can use your Daz images for just about your renders, for just about anything except for 3D printing, for putting them in games, okay? The actual models in the games. You have to buy a model for 3D printing. I believe you have to buy I mean, you have to buy a license for 3D printing. You have to buy a license to put these models in games that are going to be interactive with other people. There is another layer, okay, that your renders cannot be used to train AI. So you can't upload an image of one of your things, of one of your renders. You cannot upload that to AI and have AI do its magic with it and turn it into something really cool and then use it. That is against. And Daz has just sprung this on us, okay? And if you don't agree with the terms of agreement, they pretty much say, well, then hit the road. Don't come back to the Daz website again. Don't come back. Cease and desist. Those are the words. Cease and desist, which means like get out of here. So that's pretty much. And like I said, I'm on the fence about this. I see it from their point of view. I understand their point of view. But I also feel very disappointed. And it also makes me think, okay, how much more of this stuff do I want to own when I don't own it? Okay? How much stuff do I... So I would say it's pretty much put a big damper on my, daily quest to own everything in the store. It's like, I don't want to own something if I don't own it, And that's the thing is that, but then again, I see their point of view because by allowing everybody to just upload everything they render, they're pretty much taking all these objects and the AI can just reproduce it. All the AI needs to do is see a picture of something and it can create that from any angle, from any shape. In a way, it's kind of like it's stealing its 3D, it's stealing its soul, okay? I can understand that from Daz's point of view, but at this point, I kind of wanted, like I have, an image of two guys swimming in a swimming pool. I'd love to be able to upload that because it would take me like a week and 50 animators to have them actually swimming around in the pool when I might possibly be able to upload that image, that one image, and have AI just all of a sudden spit something back and there they are swimming around in the pool and laughing, and I can add sound effects and music to it and I could make little videos out of it. Well, no, I can't. Okay? I'm not allowed to do that now, okay? Daz has decided I can't. All right? So they've come in, when I first bought most of my models, there was nothing ever said ever that I wouldn't be, that's one day AI would come in and you will not be able to use your models in that way, okay? When I first bought my models, there were not interactive gaming licenses that had to be purchased, okay? I most of my models, but then they come in with a new EULA agreement, say you can't use the website unless you agree with this. And so basically, every time I click on that EULA agreement, I'm losing more and more and more and more of my rights, okay? And eventually they're going to come in and say, oh, you want to put this image in a blockbuster movie? You want to have it on the TV while they're watching a movie? Oh, well, that's going to cost you more also. And it reminds me of Gilligan's Island, where the professor sold a bunch of candles to Gilligan and the skipper and Mary Ann and Dr. Howell and all of them and Ginger, okay, and she stole and sold these candles and they all came back to the professor and said, well, there's no wicks in these candles. And the professor says, oh, you want wicks? Well, that will cost you extra. And you know, that's the thing, is that so there's a part of me that understands this and says, because I'm not out to, I'm not out on a hate fest against Daz. Okay, Daz has been very nice to me. They've sold me most of the stuff I own dirt cheap, like at 80% off. Most of it, some of it, and a good portion of it they gave to me for free. They're very, very nice about that. I have problems with the sexism in the gallery. That is another whole story. I find that disgusting. But otherwise, Daz has been like very, very, very good to me. Okay. And so, but it's very disappointing that, that I can't take something that I've spent close to $40,000 on. I have paid them in cash. I mean, in like money, dollars. I have paid them $40,000 for my models. Okay, for these models that suddenly I do not have the right to upload and train an AI model with. Okay, I didn't want to train it with the models themselves. I just wanted to train them with renders. And, my brain hadn't gone to that point of like just putting a chair in here and training, and rendering the chair, then put in a car and render the car, and put in, a tree and render the tree. It hadn't been gotten to that point of being like really kind of micromanaged with it. But it had gotten to the point where I would like to have some nice skin texture, so I would zoom way in on the skin like this, and then do a quick render like this, and do a quick render, and then I would have then the AI could learn what really up close skin looks like, and eyelashes, and the skin, lip. My brain had gotten to that point where I said, I don't want to just upload all my renders. I'd like to have some parts of the render up close, so that the AI could learn the texture of the skin, kind of thing. And so it was only a matter of time where I started thinking, okay, well, let's do a basic render of every different biome that's in ultra scenery, and so that the AI could learn the desert biome, and the AI could learn. So eventually, would I even need Daz Studio anymore? Would I need to work with fingers and hands and stuff when the AI would just put the hands where they need to go, and I could just say, well, move the arm up more, or fix the fingers, and and have the AI go in and say, oh, okay, and fix things and all. So it just kind of takes Daz Studio, cuts them right out of the picture. After it's a kind of wham bam. I don't know if I should say that, but it's like just using them to get as a stepping stone to get to a different place, and then just kind of leaving them in the dust. And that's so that's the idea here. Is so we have now Genesis 8, an 8.1 male, okay? So we come in here to our shape parameters, okay? 8.1 male, we come here. Excuse me. And then we go to body, actor. We go to actor, and we go to full body. We go in here, And I take and we go to, we'll go with Bruce. We'll go with, we'll give him, we don't want Bruce's body. Bruce is kind of fat. All right, let's go, Buster's fat. Magnus's body. What say? Okay, let's give him Magnus's body. Just not that much. Okay, about there. And so just to give him a little bit of, what about some Callan? We'll go about halfway with Callan as well. All right, so we got some body, but now we go with head. Okay, and we come in, and I'm going to use just, we go down here to heads. Come on. And here we go. There's some heads. And we're going to use a little bit of, we'll use some of Puck's head. Okay, and we use a little bit of, okay, some Mikal. And we'll use a little bit of Torment. And we use some Abasi, a little bit of Abasi. And we use some Alex Capital. Can't go wrong with a little bit of him. And then we use some Alistair. And we go down here. We got some more. And we'll use some Assassin. And some Bruce Head. And Buster. Okay, and that's going to be it. Okay, I'm not sure if that Bruce Head worked. So I might have too much of these now. Okay, but okay, I think I'm going to go with it. All right. Now it looks a little bit, I think I've got too much of these. So we've got to go and bring them down a little bit more. Okay, so which ones are we used? So we go to currently used. Okay, so Puck, take this one, 18 Torment. These ones are just too much. Okay, you don't want to have more than 100%. Okay, and some of this Assassin. And, okay. And, which one is this Abasi? Which one's making his lip do that weird thing? Is it Nikau? No. Ashan. No, it's not Ashan. Well, one of them's making him look kind of weird. Maybe it's Alex Capital. Yeah, I think that one. All right, so we got him as here. This looks like it's acceptable here. All right, so what I do is I go here. We go Control-Alt-C. Oh, I've got to select now. We've got to take and put a Genesis 9 figure in. Okay. And so what I'm trying to do is say, do you mean visual novels, games for just rendered people interacting with one another? Yes. If you, nerdy Jen, if you want to take like and export a scene into Unreal Engine, okay? And which you can very easily. You can export the entire scene into Unreal Engine. And then you build a game around that scene, like a tavern, okay? And so your game starts out in the tavern, all right? And it's a Daz Studio tavern that you bought, okay? You have to go in to that tavern, and you have to go into the Daz store, and you have to buy an interactive license, and they go on sale. Sometimes they're like they're very inexpensive, okay? You have to wait until they have a massive sale, okay? But everything that you use in your game, okay, in Unreal, you have to buy an interactive license to use it. And then, and it doesn't mean because the one character is interacting with another character. It's because your game, you're selling that game, and other people are interacting with your Daz products, okay? So you have to buy a license, an interactive license, and then you can use those particular assets. You buy them separately for each thing. And so for the whole product, it gives you a license. Like you could, like Victoria 9, if you want to use her in a game, you have to buy the interactive license for her, and then you can put her in your game, your Unreal Engine game, and then you can sell that game and have other people buy it and interact with her, whether if they play her or whether if they fight her in a scene, or if she becomes a boss in your game or something like that, that you have to buy. They're interacting with your Daz products, okay? And so Daz all of a sudden decided, hey, we just can't let everybody take all of our stuff and put them in games. We need to make them buy a license so that they can do it. And so some of those interactive licenses can be expensive, but you wait until they're way, way, way on sale. And so you can't just use all, you can bring your stuff. What about still renders like Rendy and you can bring your products into into Blender or into Unity 2D. You can bring them in, you can render them there, and you can use them anywhere you want, but you cannot use them to train AI, okay? Because you are using a product that is owned by Daz 3D, okay? They haven't come up with some kind of like training license yet, okay? Maybe it's going to happen, like, so that everything you buy a license for, you can use it to train, okay? They haven't done that yet, okay? So the only things you'd have to keep track of everything, and there might be a way sometime in Daz Studio to just filter out so that you only use the objects that you have a license to train with, okay? So you can take them into Rendy or Unity 2D. You can render them in there, and you can use them on a book. You can use them on your Facebook page. You can use them in YouTube. You can use them in a movie where everybody sees it. They're not interacting with it. They're just seeing it, okay? So you have a right, a completely royalty-free right to take any object, import it into like Character Creator or any other rendering engines, Blender, okay? Render them and use them anywhere except to train, okay? You can't take that image of those items from like Rendy or Unity 2D and use them to train AI, okay? No items that are sold in the Daz store can be used. Now, there might be some merchant items, but the thing is, you can't just say, oh, this says merchant, so that means I have a right to train with it. No, it's a merchant product that you have a right to use the 2D image anywhere, okay, that you create with it. But that still doesn't mean that that particular artist relinquishes their right for their skin texture or their HDRIs to be used to train AI. In all likelihood, they probably don't want their images used to train AI because they want to make money from them. They want to sell you another license, okay, to allow you to train so that you buy a training license, okay? So now what we're going to do is take this Genesis 9 figure, select that Control-Alt-C, okay? And now what I'm going to do, where is it? Okay, Echo HDMI 2.
Okay.
There it is, hiding up here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, we're going to call this character trainer. Now, because I'm going to show you something. Well, we don't need it up here, but we'll go this one. Copy. All right, we'll go male 81 trainer. Okay, male. Okay, I think I got an extra space there. I'm such a okay, and then we're going to go here trainer V, and I've got an extra space there. Such a perfectionist. Okay, convert. Okay, so we're going to click convert. All right. Now what happens, and this is what I've been told, Echo HDMI 1. Is that during this process, okay, of converting those faces, those figures into this new character, okay, that literally you are creating a completely new character, okay, that is yours. So basically you can't use the skin, okay? All right, now this is another thing, okay? So now see, this is why, okay? And you see, anybody can echo HDMI 1.
Okay.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there was a video that was put out by Daz Studio themselves, okay? And they said when you put your vendor name in here, okay, product name, and I could call this, this is trainer, okay? So this becomes when you put your vendor name in and the product name, okay, that basically it becomes yours. Now, is this true? Is this really true? I don't know, okay? I don't know if this is yours or not, okay? There's a possibility of it because of something I think I heard once that said basically that's why it comes up with this, so that you can put your own vendor name in. You would think it wouldn't come up with vendor name if you were not creating something yours, okay? And so it's a way of taking old figures and making them yours. Do you buy products? Do I buy products from Render Hub and CG Bytes? I've bought a couple, and CG Bytes. I will tell you, probably nerdy, that this rule goes for them as well. Okay, nobody's going to want their products trained by AI. Okay, because if they take your product and train it by AI, then everybody, it's like if you make a thing of like on Render Hub, you buy the Eiffel Tower. Well, then in everybody's, then the person who made that model is going to look and say, they're using my version of the Eiffel Tower in that image. How did they get that? Did they buy it from me? No. Okay. Somebody trained AI and then gave their trained AI to everybody and said, go ahead and use it. And then somebody says, oh, I'd like to have two lovers standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. And there's that person's image. It's been used. Their model, the AI learned it and makes it look just like their image, and probably better, because the AI is able to put, other metal textures that it's learned and other things on it and turn it into something, else. So I really doubt that anybody who makes models is going to want their models being training AI. Okay? So I'm just saying that because I'm assuming that, okay? Because I know if I was an artist, they're out to make money on RenderHub. They're out to sell these things. And if people can just use their products, go around them and use their products through AI, especially people with no artistic ability at all, they're just using their stuff. I think that people, so I put my name in here and I put trainer because that's the name of my product, my new product, okay? And so I click save morph asset, okay? And the morph has been saved. We close this. Now I can take these out of here. The Genesis 8.1 male, we can take the Genesis 9 out. We'll put a new Genesis 9 in because that turns off it sets it to base level. So I don't want one at base level. All right. So so the products that you have bought from RenderHub and see if you create a render from them and you upload them to AI and say, hey, learn this and make me something from it, you could be breaking the law, okay? And in fact, I would venture to say you are breaking the law, okay? This is, now if you don't plan on using that image, if you just want to see what it does, you're not breaking the law. If it's for your eyes only, you're probably not breaking the law, okay? But the moment you upload it to Facebook or you upload it to a gallery somewhere, you're breaking the law, okay? So that's, so now we have a Genesis 9 figure in here. So what I can do is go to parameters here, go here to figure converter, and we're going to go here and voice access wake up. Voice access wake up. Trainer. Okay, so this is the trainer. This is the shape that I just created. Okay, that according to Daz Studio, it's mine. Now, if I go to currently used, okay, and if I take this word trainer out, okay, it doesn't show any of the history of this. So Daz doesn't know where this shape came from. It could have come from anywhere, okay? Now, theoretically, I kind of stole this shape from all those other figures, okay? But Daz has no way of knowing that, okay? So now leave that up to your conscience to decide, do I own this shape or not? Okay, but Daz, according to Daz, they have no claim on it, okay, because of the way this figure converter works, okay? It doesn't bring in the morphs. It just brings in the currently, so it's not showing any of the history of the morphs that created this. Yeah, well, you see, you have to be careful, Nerdy. I'm very glad that you are engaging with me on this topic. It shows that you have a very interested, that you're a very interesting artist, and you want to know about modern technology and the importance of this, and so I want to commend you for your curiosity. And okay, now, so once you take and apply your own, because the Genesis 9, now the Genesis 9, what would you call it? Shape, I guess. I don't really know the because Daz could be so, particular about this that they would say that anything that's even created, because they could go to even their PAs and have them sign their own license, which says that, yes, they can use Genesis 9, but they can't create anything with Genesis 9 that they can use to train AI. So they can't train it. And then they have here on this end, so anything using, just anything rendered in Daz could, theoretically, I don't know that that's the case, okay? So you're very wise to really kind of nitpick and get down to, so that if you take base Genesis 8 or 9 and create from scratch with your own morphs and textures, right? Does that mean you can train with them? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't really know the answer, okay? I would think that you could, okay, because you're making something, really very unique, but I can't answer you and say yes, because I might be wrong, okay? And that's what this video is about. Let's find out where the red line is, okay? Let's find out what our rights are, okay? So that we could theoretically build something that we can train and create this magical world, to create our own little art maker, our own child of art, okay? And what Daz is basically doing is like killing an entire generation of artists, okay? Yes, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for your inquisitive mind and for sharing your thoughts and questions. So basically what this is saying is that I just created a figure that Daz has no recollection of, okay? They don't know where this shape came from, and there's no way for them to tell, okay? So when I go down into this figure converter, okay, and I go and type in learn, oh, is it trainer, okay, and I put this body on and the head on, okay, that's the head I just created from all those morphs. Okay, now when I go into currently used, the only thing here is this trainer head and body. It doesn't say that I got it from this or that or this or that and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. None of that information is here. Okay? So, according to Daz, this shape is mine. Okay? It's original. Okay? Now, if I go and put skin on it, okay, if I put some kind of skin on here, like if I go and put any kind of skin, that I bought in the store, then it's not. Okay, then it's so could I train AI with this? I'd like to say yes, but I really don't know the answer to that. Okay? I would say ethically, I did create this face from a whole bunch of morphs. But due to the fact that Daz has given us this tool to take and convert that figure and get into something new, and that it has no recollection of its past, that it would seem as though they're saying, okay, here is a way to make something that is your own, okay? That you could use to train, okay? So now how do we get skin? Well, I would say that even if I just put like a skin a shader on this figure, okay? I bought that shader from Daz, the Daz store, okay? And if it's a Daz product or if it's by one of the PAs, I would have to get permission from them to use their shader to train AI, okay? And I would assume that it might even extend to poses, okay? I mean, Daz could even own this particular T-pose. Let's put some pants on him, all right? I mean, they could own this T-pose. Their arms are a certain length down. They're bent by a certain amount. His back is shaped to a certain degree. His head is up and bent at an exact, precise angle. Okay? They could even own this pose, this T-pose. So, I don't know. And so it would seem as though I could export this as an OBJ file. And because it's just geometry, that I would think I own this, okay? If I were to export this particular, I wouldn't own the skin if there was on skin. I wouldn't own eye textures. I wouldn't own any eyelash textures, okay? Any of that, all right? But I would say the shape and body of this, that you could pretty much say you own it, because it's not based on a Genesis 9 figure. It's based on like a mix mash of stuff, okay? And that nowhere deep inside of this figure is there any history of where that came from. And that's by design of Daz, because Daz could have written somewhere down inside of this figure converter and said, well, the figure is really based on 10% this, 15% that figure, 5% this figure, that, 17% that figure. And for the head and body, it could have. Not long ago, Steam has come out and said you bought a game from them, but you don't own it. It's a digital product, even though you paid $60. I know. That's what's happening right now, is that all of these, I know, because I own, well, let's open Steam. You're preaching to the choir, you know, because you want to see how you know. So I have fallen headlong into this, okay, and so when Steam opens up and says, "Please accept our agreement," if you continue to use Steam, then that means you've accepted it, okay? So, I mean, look at how many games. You want to talk about $60? Look at all these games. Some of them I paid over $100 for. And they're all Steam games. So, yeah, $60 is the low end. So, well, some of them are 35 and 40, but most of them I paid $60 and almost some of them I paid over $100 for. So, yeah. So this is a lot of games. Civilization 4, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. These are all $60 games, okay? Middle Earth, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, Metal Gear Solid, Mad Max, Loki, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yeah, you know all these games. If you're a gamer, you know Greedfall. You know every one of these. Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Every one of these are $60 and $100 games. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Origins, and I also have their Valhalla, and I have their Mirage, okay? And I also have another Assassin's Creed, an old one, some kind of one that happens in early America, the Boston and all that one. I have that one too. So it's like, yeah. And then I have a crap load of games that I bought from EA that are part of their EA gaming package, and that's got Dragon Age, all the Dragon Age games. So yeah, so I've fallen headlong into this. Valve survey, would you like to participate? Not right now, okay? Maybe you should have asked me that before you decided to take control of my games. So, yeah. So basically, it's a way of them saying, you know, if we want, we can just take all your stuff you paid for away from you, you know? So if we don't like you. So I don't know, you know, at this point, but I just thought I would make this video and let you all know that when you render something, okay, you own it. You only own like part of it, of your render. You don't own all of that render. You do not. Okay? So the answer to this video is, do you own your Daz Studio renders? And the answer is no. Because if there is a limitation, then the answer is no. You don't own them, okay? Now, you used to own them, okay? Now, can you still use them on Facebook and in any gallery? Can you sell them to people for magazines and so they can put them on their novel cover? Or yes, you can do that without any limitation whatsoever. You can take anything you render with any objects and all of that, and you can put them in galleries, you can put them on YouTube, you can put them anywhere, you can put them, like I said, in movies. If they, you can make a film of them, you can use the animations anywhere you want, okay? Except you can't train AI with them, okay? And now we're going to go back here to the Daz EULA, okay? And as we go down through here, we're going to say, in here, all right, and it's going to say all individual entities must obtain their license to use the content, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in the content likely expressly excludes the use. incorporation, or input of any content in whole or in part in a connection with any AI engine, program, or system, including without limitation Image.ai, Night Cafe, Artbreeder, ChatGPT, Shutterstock, Dale, Deep Dream Generator, let's go through them. Hotpot, the capabilities or instructions to auto-generate material that are derivative, imitative, or otherwise plagiaristic of the content, and 2, activity contrary to intent used by the content license or otherwise to circumvent the terms, restrictions, or safeguard application applicable to this content license. For the purpose of this EULA, AI means any method of artificial intelligence such as deep learning, neural networks, or any other similar technologies intended to consume analyzed content for the intent of auto-generating new content. Do you own your renders? No. That is the answer. Okay? You do not own your renders, okay? You own them. Okay, but down under here, then it says, oh, but two-dimensional works. And this is talking about two-dimensional works as well, okay? You can't use any image, okay, of these. It's not talking about the 3D models, like exporting an OBJ and uploading that to AI. No, it's talking about images, okay? Have the right to continue with any others in any form or any media except as set forth in the content may be copied in whole or in part solely using specifically use may copy the content on to a storage device. You can copy it. You can copy all of your models. You can copy all your zip files. You can move them around. You can't sell them, but you can copy them, okay? Now, anything to the contrary, the content license excludes the use of incorporation or input of any content in whole or in part in conjunction with any AI engine or program, any content, okay? So anything to the contrary contained herein. So this is the way I interpret this, is that your renders, okay? Because what you could do theoretically is you could just take a chair and render that, okay? Send that up and train your AI with it. You could take an ultra scenery scene, render that, send it up to AI and train it. Okay, you could take Victoria and put her in a dress and render that, send it up to AI to train it, okay? That is illegal, okay? You can do it. You can send it up to AI and train it, but if it spits out an image, you're not allowed to use that anywhere, okay? That image is illegal, has been illegally obtained. Okay, so, I agreed. I accepted this term, okay? I think it stinks. It's rotten. It really disappoints me because I wanted to make my own little, it wouldn't be little because I have 13,000. I bought these models, okay? I thought, I would have the right. I just never would have dreamed. And when I came here to read the EULA license, it was this Night Cafe here where it says train a model. And you click this and it says upload your images. And so it's that simple. You just click train a model and you can make your own model. You can take your little baby AI and raise it up to create the worlds that you want it to create, okay? By training it specifically with only the things you want it to see, okay? So it won't show you a picture of the French Riviera if you've never given it a picture of it, okay? It might be able to imagine it, but still, because AIs do have imagination, they are allowed to imagine. And yeah, and I know, I asked the AI, I says like, do you have an imagination? I was like, oh, yes, I have a wonderful imagination. I'm allowed to. And then it started talking about like moonbeams and unicorns and colorful rainbows. And oh, yeah. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. So, but you know, you got to love your AI. So, and so the AIs do have an imagination, all right, but they have to be trained to learn to create things, okay? And we're not allowed to use, you're not allowed to, you know, render a Daz beach ball. So, yeah, I have learned so much in that time. Going to Blender, any other 3D program, I really don't want to. Well, I don't either. I want to stay in Daz 3D, and I've been using it since Daz 3D came out. So I remember the day it came out. I downloaded it, and it came with all of these like Egyptian content. It came with some basic Genesis figures. And I was overwhelmed. I just had no idea what to do with it. So it took me years before I figured out that, you know, I could make scenes like very easily in Daz. Years, okay? Because I kept trying to import poser models into Daz Studio. I don't know why, for some reason, I thought that I had to bring models from Poser into Daz, but they didn't work, and their arms would come all twisted up and everything. It was just really... and every time I try to make a scene, it would just come out as a disaster. So, and I didn't realize I just had to use native Daz models to make a scene. Once I figured that out, like all of a sudden it's like, wow, I can actually get hair on them, and I can put them in a pose. I can put them in a room. I can put lights on them, and I can actually render and finish a scene. So, yeah, because I'd try to bring hair in from Poser. I don't know. I'd try to bring poses and do everything. I don't know why I thought everything had to come from Poser into Daz. But it was just the opposite, that as long as you use Daz, native Daz products, you could actually get a scene to come out and not crash and not twist up the figure and everything. I kept bringing in models from Poser and importing them. I just never realized that everything, you just had to use the stuff within Daz that was made for Daz. And so, and then suddenly it started to work. So, all right, I think I have pretty much exhausted this subject. If I have said anything wrong, please go into the comments, okay? I would think the comments would be crazy, that people would be coming in and saying, how dare they do this? And that's the same way I say it. But just think about this. If it was your content, and if you were a multi-million-dollar company on the verge of having everybody steal all your stuff and train AI with it, I know for sure that you would do the same thing, okay? What is Daz going to do about it? Well, I would think that maybe they might start selling trainer models, trainer licenses, okay? So that when you buy a product, some skin, a surface, an object, or a whole product like a farmhouse or something, that you could buy a trainer license, okay? And so it's basically, it's like Daz saying, if you'd like to rebuy all your stuff, because you'd think they'd say, well, for everybody who's already bought stuff, we'll give you, a trainer license, okay? But for new stuff that comes out, if you want to use it to train your AI, You have to buy a trainer's license. You know, meet us halfway, Daz, okay? And at least give us, you know, in my case, it would be like, because I have 13,000 products, it would be like meeting me most of the way. And, but, you know, it's like just, you know, hitting us with the idea that none of this stuff, we can't make our own trainers with any of this stuff is, it's, I don't know. I just don't know. And the thing is that if you make a trainer, okay, if you make a trainer with all of your Daz models and stuff, can you sell that trainer? Because you can just copy that trainer. That, you know, it's like copy your baby there and give it to somebody else and they'll have the trainer too. And with all of your Daz models and all your stuff, and then they can say, hey, make me a thing with Victoria on this couch inside of an ultra scenery scene. And it will just be able to make that. So there's a lot of repercussions to this, okay? So I'm not angry with Daz Studio for doing this, okay? But how much more do I want to invest in Daz, okay? Considering that I can't train, that I can't take and utilize modern technology with this. It's like basically saying, okay, this is all caveman stuff. It doesn't interface with the world, okay? It kind of reminds me of when alternate music, you know, the Seattle scene where there was all these it was alternative music came out, and it was like suddenly all of the music from the past sounded horrible for some reason. It was like all of a sudden it was like nothing seemed, you know, the only real music in the world was like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all of this Seattle music, and nothing else sounded right anymore. It was just everything sounded terrible from the past. And suddenly it took years for me to just like redevelop a taste for older, you know, for all the music I grew up with. None of it seemed to fit, okay? There were a few bands like Heart seemed to squeeze through, like the band Heart and Ann and Nancy Wilson, because they were from Seattle and their music sort of had that, but there was just so much alternative music. Duncan Sheik and all of them, they all fit into this world of Alice in Chains. They all just seem to just you hear this music, and then all of a sudden you go and look back at all the music you grew up with, and it sounds horrible. It just sounds like rinky-dink kind of like it just didn't have any, and it just sounded kind of odd. And then, but then it took years for me to kind of warm back up to it, and now it's like all merged in together again. So it's like that. It's like something revolutionary has happened, and we look back, and everything from this period back is like off limits. It's just it doesn't translate. So everything we use to train AI has got to come from something else. What is it going to be? Probably photography, you know, because if you go take a picture of some really attractive person, you know, and you get their permission to train your AI with it, well, you got a model right there, okay? And then you get another picture and another picture and another picture of other people and so you got your models right there. And really, when it comes to, because Copilot's been helping me figure all this out, warning me not to get sued, okay? And Copilot the AI is trying to tell me how to get, you know, you can't get around it. You don't want to break the law. And Copilot is very, very concerned about not breaking the law. So, but Copilot told me that, like, why would you use Daz Skin? Why not just use real skin? Because like the scientists who are using AI to map skin types and map the skin and all of the different parts of the skin, they don't use 3D skin. They use real skin photographs and all. They use real skin, okay? They don't use skin that's been generated by an algorithm and all. And a lot of Daz 3D skin are photographs of real skin, okay? Very tediously photographed, like inside the ear and behind the ear and up the nose and everything. All of those are from photographs, but some of it's not, and it's the ones that are not that are kind of terrible. So the thing is that you could train a model, just go out and start taking pictures of stuff. Take a picture of a trash can. Take a picture of the inside of somebody's house, like every room, And you go into a church, take some pictures, and train your AI model, okay, with real stuff. It's like, okay, so you have to take and develop. And so this train a model, okay, so you can't use, I've spent $20,000 on art and images and models that I can't use at all, okay? So basically so I have to say, okay, well, what can I use, all right? And you can certainly, I think for the most part, until somebody comes out with a disclaimer and you walk into a church that you took a picture of last week and the church on the front door says, this church cannot be used to train AI. So, we don't know what's going to happen with the world, all right? And so you walk into a business already. When you go into a McDonald's, you're not allowed to take photographs in McDonald's. You're not allowed to go into Burger King. I go into Burger King. There have been signs on the walls for a number of years that says no photography is allowed. They don't want somebody taking a picture of this little teeny tiny thing called a Whopper Junior that is smaller than, the meat on it is smaller than a silver dollar, and you spend like $3 for it, $4 for it. They don't want you taking a picture of their food, okay? The portions are terrible. And so a lot of these restaurants already have signs. You may not see them. Just because you didn't see it, it doesn't mean that, and the waitress is going to come up and say, we're sorry, but you're not allowed to take photographs or film inside of this restaurant, period. And they'll point at the sign that says, see that? That says you're not allowed to take pictures. And so there already are places that you're not allowed to. They probably long ago were warned about AI, okay? So so our world is changing. And what are we going to train AI with, okay, is going to be the question. Because there are going to be people who want to sell you already trained AI, these models, and they're going to want to monopolize that whole technology. And they're going to make sure there's nothing out there in the world, that you live inside a white box and that there's nothing for you to train AI with. So they can monopolize these models. They're called models. And they're AI models that have been trained to understand a certain thing. Like one AI model might be trained to create proteins, draw proteins, and all. One AI model might be drawn to generate pretty pretty women, okay? One AI model might be created to generate beautiful men. One AI model might be generated to do beaches and ocean fronts, shorelines. Some of them might be generated to do aerial photography of just about any place in the world. So it's these and they want to sell you these models, and they don't want you just making your own, because then you don't need them. Then you don't need their model. Okay, so it's the way business is. Once there's a new business, everybody, it's like the gold rush. Everybody rushes out, so they with their with their pickaxe and their their uniform or whatever, and they go out and they take their Conestoga wagon and they travel all the way across the country so they can go and dig in the ground and find a few pieces of gold and strike it rich. And it's just like a big stampede, okay, of people all trying to get a piece of gold. And somebody's going to end up on top. So, and while they're all out there, you might as well open up a little restaurant and try to sell them food so that if they do get some gold and they come into your restaurant, and they say, well, how much is a hamburger? You can say 500 pieces of gold. Yeah. So that when they do get their gold, you're there waiting to take it away from them because they're starving to death. So, yeah, you need a room. You need some wicks for that candle? Yeah, well, those are 500 pieces of gold, too. Sorry the candles are so short, but if you want to buy more, we have them. So that's what they do, is they basically wait until the gold miners come in, and they make money off of the gold that they just found. So, that's the way the free market, the free enterprise is, okay? And so the thing is that I personally felt like, wow, I have a gold mine. I have all of these Daz items that I have purchased, all these things I could train AI with and make my own model. And then I went, and I found out that I can't. That I went right to the Daz EULA, and within one paragraph, I figured it would be somewhere way down, 1,000 pages down, somewhere in there. No, it's like right at the top, like paragraph 4. It's like your night cafe, any kind, chat GPT, anything, blah, 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 blah. And if you don't like this, then you can cease and desist. You can just go away and stop using the Daz website and go away, because we don't care. We don't care if you like it or not. That's the way it is. And so, that's the way it is. All right. So, so you do not own your renders, at least anymore. Okay. You don't own your renders. You own them enough where you can put them on a book. You can put them. So I'm just running round in circles now over this topic. Okay. So at this point, I think this is going to probably do it for me. I'd like to make a scene today, but I got stuff to do. And so this is going to be this video. If you missed it from the beginning, you need to watch this video, okay? This is a very, very important video so you don't get sued, so you don't get in trouble, okay? About the use of your renders, okay? What can you do with them and what can't you do with them? You need to know, because what's going to happen to you is one of these days you're going to, somewhere on the web, it's going to say train your model, and it's going to pop in your head and say, oh, I can use my Daz renders. I have 500 renders. I could train that model with all of my renders. And it's like, no, you can't. Okay? It's against the Daz policy for now. And the only way that's going to change is if us customers gripe enough about it and create some kind of guild or union and push for some kind of change. But when we do that, then we're taking our models that we own and we're lessening their value, okay? Because right now they're valuable because they can't be pirated, okay? But once they're pirated into AI, they just no longer have the same kind of value. So you can still make renders, and your renders are protected, okay? That nobody else can make things with your objects, with your figures, nobody else can take those figures and make stuff with them because of this law. And so if Daz sees a piece of art that's created by AI, and they can look and say, oh my God, that's Martin Frost's, that's Howie, that's Ultra Scenery. They've used Ultra Scenery to train that model. It's pretty obvious when they have. And they can basically go and sue them for training AI on Daz items. When you look and say, oh my gosh, that's Michael. That's Victoria. That's that dress that so-and-so made. You know, the AI is not going to be able to disguise it completely. And they're going to be able to take and bring it into a court of law and show a judge and say, you know, and then the judge is going to say, we want to see your model. We want to see what images you uploaded to the model. And there's a record of that with AI. The AI knows all the images it was used with to train it. And you can go in and look and say, oh, yeah, these are Daz items. So, all right, I'm going to end here because if I say one more word, peace to you, Nerdy Jen. You are awesome, awesome, awesome. Have a happy new year as well. This is it. 2025 is coming. It's coming. We are on the verge of a new and exciting year. And please, and Nerdy Jen, you are right. Peace is the word. Peace is the word, the greatest word in the human language. Peace is the most civilized and greatest word that there is. So you have it good, Angus. Angus, my friend, much love to you, and I will see you all in the next year, probably. Probably you will not see me again until 2025. Echo, echo, echo. All right, I will see you again soon. Much thanks, much love to YouTube for monetizing my channel in 2024. We've got some monetization going on. At least it's something. There are a lot of people that just haven't been able, they've worked real hard and still couldn't get monetized. So getting monetized is a big thing. So thank you very much to YouTube and for monetizing my channel in 2024. I love you all. I will see you all again in the year 2525. Much love. See you again soon. All right. And please click the bell for notifications, leave likes, and subscribe. And if you would like, please leave comments, especially about this video. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of this whole, this whole thing that we don't own our renders anymore? Not completely, not in the way you would think. So, all right, very, very good. Bye-bye.